This is a story that will make your heart ache and your fists clench. It's about a man who had everything stolen from him. His freedom, his love, and his future, because of a single, devastating lie. But it's also about the strength to fight back, the power of truth, and the people who stand by you when the world turns away. If you've ever felt betrayed or broken, this story will remind you that even in the darkest moments, there's hope. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories just like this one. Let's dive back into how the billionaire's daughter falsely accuses her driver of forceful entry. Sophia walked down the hallway to the driver's room. Her heart was light, and she was humming a tune. She had a message from her dad to deliver. As she reached the door, without knocking, Sophia turned the doorknob and stepped inside. But what she saw made her stop in her tracks. Liam, the family driver, was coming out of the bathroom. He wasn't wearing anything. Sophia gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. She froze on the spot. Liam stood still too, his eyes wide with shock. His face turned pale as he realized she had caught him in such a state. I didn't know you were here," Liam stammered, his voice shaking. He quickly rushed back into the bathroom and grabbed a towel. Moments later, he came out, the towel wrapped around his waist. But Sophia was still standing there, staring at him. Her gaze felt heavy, like it could pierce through him. Liam cleared his throat, trying to break the tense silence. "Sophia, please leave. This isn't right." But Sophia didn't move. Instead, she slowly closed the door behind her. The sound of the door clicking shut echoed in the small room. She began walking toward him, her steps slow and deliberate. Her eyes never left his. Liam took a step back, his hands trembling. "What are you doing, Sophia?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Sophia's lips curled into a small smile. "I want you," she said softly, her voice calm but chilling. Liam's heart pounded in his chest. He shook his head quickly. No, Sophia. Don't say that. This is wrong. I'm engaged and you're too young for this. You're just 16. But Sophia didn't stop. She kept moving closer, her voice low and firm. "If you don't do what I want, I'll tell my dad you forced me." Liam's face went pale. You can't do that," he whispered, his voice filled with disbelief. Sophia didn't reply. She was now standing right in front of him, her eyes locked onto his, daring him to stop her. Liam panicked. He gently pushed her away, his hands trembling. "No, Sophia, stop this. Please, this isn't right." Sophia stumbled back but caught herself. Her face twisted with anger. She grabbed her dress and pulled at it, tearing it apart. "Help! Help!" she screamed at the top of her lungs. "He's hurting me." Liam's heart stopped. "What are you doing?" he shouted, his voice filled with desperation. "Stop this, Sophia." But Sophia didn't stop. She screamed even louder, her voice echoing through the walls. Liam rushed toward her, trying to stop her from yelling. "Please, Sophia, stop shouting," he begged, his hands trembling as he tried to cover her mouth. But Sophia kept struggling, pushing him away and screaming louder. Suddenly, the door burst open with a loud bang. There stood Mr. Anderson, Sophia's father. His eyes were wild with anger as he took in the scene before him. Liam was standing in a towel, his hands on Sophia, who looked disheveled and frightened. Her dress was torn, and tears were streaming down her face. For a moment, the room was silent. The tension was so thick it felt like the air had frozen. "What is going on here?" Mr. Anderson roared, his voice shaking the walls. Liam stepped back, his hands in the air. "Sir, please, it's not what it looks like," he stammered. "I swear, I didn't do anything." Sophia ran to her father, crying loudly. She clung to his arm, her body trembling. "Daddy, he tried to force himself on me," she sobbed. "I told him no, but he wouldn't listen." Mr. Anderson's face turned red with rage. He turned to Liam, his fists clenched. "How dare you?" he bellowed. Liam shook his head frantically. "No, sir, she's lying. I didn't do anything," he pleaded. "She came in here and—" "Enough!" Mr. Anderson shouted, his voice like thunder. Liam. Mr. Anderson's voice echoed through the room. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. How could you do this to my daughter? Mr. Anderson gasped, his voice breaking as if his heart was shattered. He looked at his daughter, Sophia, standing by the bed, her clothes torn, her hair a mess, tears streaming down her face. Liam, Mr. Anderson said again, his voice raw with pain. I trusted you. I gave you everything, and this is how you repay me? How could you? Liam fell to his knees, desperate to explain himself. Sir, please, I'm innocent. I didn't do what she said, he cried, his voice choked with emotion. But Mr. Anderson wouldn't listen. His heart was too heavy with betrayal. Sophia, on the other hand, was sobbing uncontrollably. She stood there, looking like she had just endured something horrible. But her tears seemed fake to Liam. Without wasting a second, Mr. Anderson grabbed his phone and dialed the police. Within minutes, the sound of sirens filled the air as the officers rushed to the house. Arrest him, Mr. Anderson shouted, pointing at Liam. He forced himself on my daughter. Liam was still on his knees, crying and pleading. Please, I didn't do anything. You have to believe me. But the officers didn't listen. They handcuffed him tightly and dragged him to their van. Liam kept crying, shouting that he was innocent, but no one paid attention to him. The news spread quickly, faster than Liam could keep up with. Headlines flashed across the screens. Billionaire's driver accused of assaulting daughter. Soon, the police station was filled with reporters. Cameras flashed, and microphones were shoved in Mr. Anderson's face. When Liam's fiancée, Anna, arrived at the police station with her best friend, Mia, her face was red with anger. The moment she saw Liam, she shouted at him. So it's true, isn't it? What I heard is true. You've decided to disgrace me. Liam cried, trying to explain himself. I'm innocent, honey. Don't ever call me honey again, Anna yelled, cutting him off. She turned her back to him and stormed out of the police station in anger. Liam stood there, helpless, his heart breaking into pieces. Later, when Mr. Anderson arrived at the police station, Liam immediately rushed to him. Sir, please listen to me, Liam pleaded, his voice trembling. Mr. Anderson hesitated. He was so confused, unsure of who to believe. But after a long pause, he walked toward Liam, deciding to at least hear him out. Sir, Liam began, his voice desperate. Please believe me. Your daughter. She's been trying to get me to sleep with her. I refused, but she wouldn't stop. This isn't the first time or the second time or the third. 2 days ago, she trapped me in the hallway and tried to kiss me. I ran away for my life. Today, she threatened to accuse me if I didn't sleep with her. Please, sir, I swear I'm innocent. Please believe me. Mr. Anderson stood frozen for a moment, his mind spinning. The words didn't seem to make sense. You're a liar, Liam, Mr. Anderson yelled, his voice breaking with pain. I trusted you. I treated you like family, and this is what you do to me. Tears filled Liam's eyes as he sank to his knees, sobbing. Please, please, I didn't do it, he cried. But Mr. Anderson walked away, unable to listen anymore. As Mr. Anderson stepped out of the police station, reporters surrounded him, asking questions. Sir, what do you think of the situation? One reporter asked, shoving a microphone in his face. Mr. Anderson didn't answer. He was too lost in his thoughts, his mind racing. Could it be that his daughter was lying? When he arrived home, he couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. He immediately rushed to his office and began going through the footage from the secret cameras he had installed around the house. The first video he watched made his stomach turn. There, in the hallway, was Sophia, trying to touch Liam in a way that made him clearly uncomfortable. Liam pushed her away and quickly walked off. Mr. Anderson froze. Could it really be true? Was his daughter lying? Then he watched another video. This time it was in the living room. Sophia was sitting next to Liam, whispering in his ear. She tried to touch him again, but Liam moved away, clearly stopping her. His heart raced. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to come together. His daughter had been lying. Shaking, Mr. Anderson called Sophia. "Sophia," he said, his voice shaking. "Tell me the truth. Is what you said earlier true?" Sophia, her voice trembling with fake tears, answered, "Yes, Daddy. He forced himself on me." Mr. Anderson couldn't hold back his anger. "Have you ever tried to seduce him before?" Sophia gasped. "Me? How could I, Daddy? I would never do that." But Mr. Anderson wasn't fooled. He showed her the videos from the cameras, the ones where she tried to touch Liam in ways that weren't appropriate. "Shut up and answer my question," Mr. Anderson shouted, his anger rising. Sophia stood frozen, unable to speak. Her face went pale as she realized that her father knew the truth. After a long silence, her voice shook as she said, "Liam didn't force himself on me. I was angry because he rejected me. I thought if I made him look bad, maybe you'd finally see me." Mr. Anderson's eyes widened. "What? You made all this up?" he shouted, his voice breaking. "How could you lie like this?" Sophia's eyes filled with tears, but they weren't tears of guilt. They were tears of frustration. "It's your fault, Daddy," she cried. "You never let me talk to anyone, to have a boyfriend, to even have a friend who's a guy. Liam was the only one who was there for me. You locked me up here like a prisoner while you go around enjoying your life. You didn't care about me." Mr. Anderson stood there, speechless. His heart felt like it was being ripped apart. "You're evil," he whispered, shaking his head in disbelief. "I can't believe you would do this. You've destroyed everything. You've ruined our family, our name. How could you do this to me?" Sophia stormed out of the room, leaving her father standing there, crushed. The weight of what had just happened was too much to bear. That night, Mr. Anderson couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned in his bed, his mind racing. "What do I do now?" he asked himself. "How can I go out and tell the world that Liam is innocent? My reputation, my daughter's image, everything will be ruined." His thoughts kept spiraling. "No, I can't say he's innocent. The world already believes the worst about him." Mr. Anderson muttered to himself, a cold sweat on his forehead. The next morning, Mr. Anderson called Sophia into the sitting room. His voice was cold, filled with authority. "Sophia, you cannot tell anyone that Liam didn't do anything wrong. Do you understand? You caused all of this. The world already knows about this case, and we can't back down now. We can't risk ruining everything more," he warned. Sophia stood there, stunned. "Dad, are we really going to let him go to prison for something he didn't do?" she asked quietly, her voice full of uncertainty. Mr. Anderson's eyes narrowed, and his face grew hard. "Yes, Sophia. This is the path we have to take now. It's too late to turn back." Days turned into weeks, and finally, the day of the court hearing arrived. Liam was brought to the court with his family sitting in the front row, their faces full of worry. Mr. Anderson and his associates were seated with him, and so were Liam's fiancée, Anna, and her best friend, Mia. The courtroom was tense with anticipation. The judge cleared his throat, and the room fell completely silent. Everyone held their breath as the judge flipped through his notes, preparing to speak. "Mr. Liam Carter," the judge called out, his voice echoing through the courtroom. "Please rise." The room seemed to close in around Liam as he stood, his legs shaking. He tried to stay strong, but inside he felt like he was being crushed. After reviewing the evidence and considering all the arguments, the judge continued, his voice heavy. "This court finds you guilty of sexual molestation. You are hereby sentenced to 20 years in prison." Liam collapsed to the ground, his sobs loud and heart-wrenching. "I'm innocent. Please, I didn't do it," he cried, his voice broken. His mother burst into tears, crying out for her son, but no one listened. Anna, with tears in her eyes, walked up to Liam. She took off his wedding ring, holding it for a moment before tossing it onto the ground in front of him. "I'm done with you, Liam. Goodbye," she said, her voice trembling. Without another word, she turned and left, walking out of the courtroom as if her heart had turned to stone. Liam's heart shattered as he stared at the ring, unable to move. He didn't know what hurt more, the prison sentence or the loss of Anna. Mia, who had been standing silently by Anna, stepped forward. She tried to talk to her, to reason with her, but Anna wouldn't listen. "I can't do this anymore, Mia. I can't be with him, not after everything," Anna said, her eyes cold. Mia, feeling helpless, tried once more. "Please just think about it. What if he's innocent?" But Anna shook her head. "I don't care anymore, Mia. It's over." As the police dragged Liam out of the courtroom, the finality of it all hit him. His whole world was falling apart. Sophia sat silently, watching, her eyes vacant, her heart distant. "Please, Sophia," Liam whispered, his voice shaking as the officers pulled him away. "Tell them I'm innocent. Please, don't let me go to prison for something I didn't do." But Sophia didn't say a word. Her eyes never met his. As the police shoved him into the van, the doors slamming shut behind him, Liam felt a sense of hopelessness he had never known before. Days turned into weeks, and the world quickly forgot about Liam, moving on to the next scandal. But Anna, she never once went to visit Liam in prison. Mia, however, was different. She would visit him as often as she could, always trying to assure him that things would get better. One day, during one of her visits, Liam broke down in front of Mia. His voice was thick with emotion, his tears flowing freely. "I'm innocent, Mia," he sobbed. "I don't know how to make the world believe me anymore. Everyone's turned their back on me. My friends, my fiancé, even my dad. They've all abandoned me." Mia's heart ached as she watched him fall apart. She had always believed in him, but seeing him like this, broken and alone, was almost too much to bear. "I'm the only one left," Liam whispered, his voice filled with so much pain. "It's only you and my mom who still care. Thank you, Mia. Thank you for believing in me." Mia felt a fire ignite inside her. She couldn't let Liam suffer like this. She swore to herself that she would do whatever it took to get him justice. She would fight for him even if it meant going against everyone else. "I'll do whatever I can, Liam," Mia said, her voice strong, full of determination. "I promise you, I'll make sure the truth comes out. I won't let them do this to you." Liam nodded, his eyes filled with gratitude. He knew that with Mia by his side, maybe, just maybe, he would get the justice he deserved. 3 years later, Mia sat on her bed, aimlessly scrolling through job postings on the internet when something unusual caught her eye. A cleaner vacancy at Mr. Anderson's mansion. Her heart skipped a beat. Could this be my chance? She thought. For 3 years, she had never stopped thinking about Liam. Locked away for a crime he didn't commit. She had promised to help him, but time kept slipping through her fingers. Now, fate had placed an opportunity right in front of her. Mia didn't know exactly how she would get justice for Liam, but one thing was clear. This was a door she had to walk through. Without hesitation, she applied for the job. A few days later, her phone rang. It was from Mr. Anderson's mansion. "Miss Mia, you have been selected for the cleaning position. Can you start next week?" Mia could barely contain her excitement. "Yes, I'll be there," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. That same evening, she rushed to the prison to share the news with Liam. When he saw her walk into the visiting area, Liam smiled weakly. He looked thinner, his once bright eyes now filled with sorrow. "I have something to tell you," Mia whispered, leaning closer. "I got a job at Mr. Anderson's house." Liam's eyes widened in shock. "What? How?" "I saw the job posting and applied. They hired me." Liam ran his hand over his face, shaking his head in disbelief. "Mia, do you know what you're getting yourself into? That place is dangerous. If they find out why you're there—" "I know," she cut in, determination burning in her eyes. "That's why I need your help. Do you have any idea how I can prove your innocence?" Liam hesitated for a moment, then lowered his voice. "Yes, but it won't be easy. Mr. Anderson has secret cameras in his house. If you can find them and get the footage of Sophia forcing herself on me, it will be the proof I need." Mia's heart pounded. This was risky. If she got caught, she could end up in serious trouble. But if she succeeded, Liam could finally be free. She looked into his tired eyes and gave him a firm nod. I'll do it. Liam let out a shaky breath and grabbed her hands. Thank you, Mia. You don't know how much this means to me. Mia squeezed his hands back. I won't stop until the truth comes out. As she left the prison that evening, a mix of fear and determination swirled inside her. The fight for justice had just begun. Mia had just started her job as a cleaner in Mr. Anderson's mansion. The house was massive, with tall gates and shiny floors that reflected her every step. Mia wasn't there just to clean. She had a mission: to expose Sophia, Mr. Anderson's spoiled and rude daughter. Her plan was to get close to Sophia, to befriend her, and gather the truth. But it wasn't long before Mia realized that Sophia wasn't someone who could be won over. Sophia was rude, arrogant, and mean, a true spoiled brat. Mia sighed but told herself, I won't give up. I'll find another way. One day, while cleaning, Mia spotted Mr. Anderson in his bedroom. The door was slightly open, and she froze in her tracks. He was watching something on his computer, secret camera footage. Her heart raced as she realized this could be the key to proving Sophia's wrongdoings. But there was one problem. The computer was in Mr. Anderson's bedroom, a place she could never access without being caught. Months passed, and Mia waited for the perfect opportunity. Then came Sophia's birthday. That night, the house was filled with music, laughter, and clinking glasses. Everyone was celebrating, drinking, and dancing. Mia, however, refused to drink. She wanted to stay sharp. As the party wound down and the guests left, Sophia and her dad sat drunkenly in the living room, laughing and slurring their words. Mia knew this was her chance. Quietly, she sneaked upstairs to Mr. Anderson's room. With trembling hands, she opened the door and slipped inside. The computer sat on the desk, glowing faintly in the dark. She started searching the files, her fingers moving quickly across the keyboard. She started searching the files, her fingers moving quickly across the keyboard. She searched through folders and videos, her heart pounding louder with each second. But the video she was looking for, the one about Liam, wasn't there. Frustrated, Mia almost gave up until she checked the recycle bin. There, she found it. A video showing Sophia trying to force herself on Liam, who desperately tried to push her away. Mia froze, her body shaking. So it's true, she thought. She pulled out her phone to record the evidence. Suddenly, the door swung open. Standing in the doorway was Mr. Anderson. He looked tipsy, his eyes half closed as he stumbled toward the bed. Mia's heart felt like it would burst out of her chest. She quickly slid under the desk, holding her breath. Mr. Anderson sat on the bed for a moment before collapsing onto it. Mia stayed hidden, waiting until his soft snores filled the room. Slowly, she crawled out, grabbed a spare key she noticed on the dresser, and slipped out of the room. Back in her room, she sat on her bed, clutching her phone. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. I was so close to being caught, she thought, her heart racing. The next morning, Mr. Anderson left for work. Mia knew this was her best chance. With the stolen spare key, she sneaked into his room again. She quickly opened the computer and recorded the evidence. As she was about to leave, her elbow knocked over a glass on the table. It fell to the floor and shattered, the sound echoing through the quiet house. Mia froze. Downstairs, Sophia, who was eating breakfast, heard the noise. She ran upstairs, yelling, "Who's there?" Mia quickly hid under the desk again, her heart thundering. Sophia barged into the room, her eyes scanning the place. She spotted the broken glass on the floor and grew nervous. "Who's here? Show yourself," she shouted. Sophia called the security guards on her phone, her voice shaking. "Come to my dad's room now. Someone's here." Mia knew she had to act fast. She stepped out from under the desk, facing Sophia. "You!" Sophia shouted. "What are you doing in my dad's room, you poor maid?" Mia glared at her. "Shut up, Sophia. 3 years ago you lied about Liam. You accused him of something horrible, and it ruined his life." Sophia smirked. "And how is that your business?" "It's my business because I have the proof now," Mia said, holding up her phone. "See you and your dad in prison." Sophia froze, her face pale. You have the video? Just then, the security guards rushed into the room. Sophia shouted, "Catch her! Tie her up!" Mia quickly raised her phone. "Don't you dare touch me or I'll upload this video right now. One wrong move, and the whole world will see what you've done." The guards hesitated, looking at Sophia for instructions. Sophia growled, "Stop! Don't touch her." "What do you want?" she asked desperately. "Money? How much?" "Just delete the video." "I want $2 million, Mia said firmly. "What? That's ridiculous," Sophia shouted. "Take it or leave it," Mia replied. Sophia sighed. "Fine. Let me call my dad." Mia nodded. "Tell your guards to let me go first." Reluctantly, Sophia told the guards to step back. Mia slowly walked toward the door. Mia clutched her phone tightly as she made her way to the final exit. Her heart was pounding in her chest. She had the evidence, the video that could expose Sophia and Mr. Anderson. Victory was within reach, and all she needed to do was leave the mansion safely. But as Mia approached the exit, she didn't notice a shadow lurking nearby. Suddenly, a security guard jumped out from the corner. Before she could react, he hit the phone out of her hand. It flew across the room and crashed onto the floor. Mia gasped, her hand reaching out, but it was too late. The guard grabbed her roughly, twisting her arms behind her back. "Got you," he sneered. "Let me go," Mia screamed, struggling to break free, but his grip was too strong. Sophia came running into the room, her heels clicking loudly on the marble floor. She spotted Mia's phone on the ground and smirked. "You thought you were smart, didn't you?" Sophia picked up the phone and, with one swift motion, slammed it against the floor. The screen cracked, and pieces flew everywhere. She stomped on it again and again until it was completely crushed. "Now you have nothing," Sophia laughed wickedly. "Tie her up." The guard dragged Mia to a chair as two more guards came in to help. They began tying her hands and feet tightly with rope. Mia winced, her wrists burning from the rough cords. Sophia stood in front of her, crossing her arms. "What's the plan now, little maid? Did you really think you could win against me? You're nothing." Mia, despite the pain, smirked. "Do you think I'm a fool, Sophia?" Sophia's confident smile faltered. "What are you talking about?" Before Mia could respond, a loud sound pierced the air, the blaring wail of police sirens. Sophia froze, her eyes widening in shock. "No," she whispered, shaking her head. The front door burst open, and police officers stormed into the mansion. Their voices boomed. "Freeze! Nobody move!" Sophia stumbled back, her face pale. This can't be happening." Mia chuckled, her voice steady despite her situation. "Did you really think I wouldn't prepare for this? I called the police before I even entered your father's room." The guards immediately let go of Mia and raised their hands. The officers moved quickly, arresting them one by one. Mr. Anderson arrived just as the chaos unfolded. "What's going on here?" he demanded, but his voice was shaky. "You're under arrest," one officer said, handcuffing him. "We have evidence against you and your daughter." Mia, now free from the ropes, stood up and led the officers to Mr. Anderson's computer. "The evidence is here," she said. The officers retrieved the memory card containing the secret video. They took it along with Mia's statement sealing the case. Sophia and Mr. Anderson were escorted out of the mansion in handcuffs, their heads hanging low. In court, the truth came to light. The evidence Mia had gathered proved Liam's innocence and exposed Sophia's lies. The judge sentenced Mr. Anderson and Sophia to years in prison. They were also ordered to pay Liam $5 million as compensation. Liam was finally released. Tears streamed down his face as he hugged Mia. "You saved my life," he said, his voice trembling. Mia smiled warmly. "You didn't deserve what happened to you, Liam. I'm just glad I could help." With the compensation money, Liam bought a new house and began planning a fresh start. A few days later, Liam was relaxing at home when he heard a knock at the door. He opened it to find Anna, his ex-fiancée, standing there. "Liam," she began, her eyes filled with tears. I'm so sorry. I should have believed you. I was wrong to leave you. Liam stared at her silently, his face unreadable. Anna continued, I even bought a new ring to replace the one I threw away. Let's start over, please, Liam. She pulled out a small velvet box, opening it to reveal a sparkling diamond ring. Liam sighed deeply. Anna, do you remember what you did to me at the darkest moment of my life? You left me. You broke my heart when I needed you the most. I'm sorry, Anna whispered. I'll do anything to make it up to you. Liam shook his head. It's too late, Anna. Someone else already gave me the love and support you couldn't. Anna's eyes widened in shock. What do you mean? Who? Liam turned and called out, Honey, can you come here? Mia stepped into the doorway, her hand resting on the door frame. On her fingers sparkled a diamond ring, the same one Liam had given Anna years ago. Anna froze, her face pale. Mia, what are you doing with my boyfriend? Point of correction, Liam said firmly, stepping forward. I'm not your boyfriend. You gave up that right when you threw me away. Anna's voice cracked as she turned to Mia. You're supposed to be my friend. How could you do this? Mia crossed her arms, her expression calm but firm. You left him broken, Anna. I picked him up and stood by him. You only came back now because he's doing well again. Liam stepped closer to Anna. Leave, Anna. Don't ever come back here again. Anna's lips quivered as tears streamed down her face. She turned and ran out of the house, sobbing. Liam closed the door and turned to Mia. Thank you for everything. I wouldn't be here without you. Mia smiled, her eyes shining with happiness. You don't have to thank me, Liam. We're a team now. And together, they began their new life, filled with hope and love. If you find this video interesting, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and also please drop your opinion in the comment section. Let's hear from you.